Hello and welcome to another episode of the Three Donkeys podcast. It is the first episode in 2018. My name is Adam Levitan. I am the father of a very special lady, the most beautiful beast in the world, Jerry. As always, I am joined by fellow donkeys, Peter Jennings, Jonathan Bales. Bales, hashtag regular employee life. What's going on, man?
Not much, dude. Excited for NFL playoffs. A lot of cool things going on in crypto. Good start to 2018. So, I'm pumped right now.
Crypto is off and running in 2018. We will get to that. Peter, what's going on, man?
Yeah, also pumped for the start of 2018. Had some good laughs already this year. Have had some good stories. Off to do regular employee things here in San Francisco. Leave tomorrow. Get to fly Virgin, which is the GOAT airline. Doing all right. DFS sweat. We did some early stuff for this week's playoff slate, so that should be fun. NBA still kicking, and crypto is definitely really interesting at this point in
time. Week 17 was, I thought, really I'm pissed I didn't win more. I feel like we were on it. A lot of other people were on it too, but me and Bales actually, nobody believes us, but me and Bales played the same lineup in the Three Donkeys 3-man. I didn't even talk to Bales last week about plays, but somehow we landed on the same lineup. Really rare, but I thought that just spoke to it was like this was a really easy week to make the optimal lineup. I thought, and probably should have tried to play like the chalk with diversification at like one or two spots more in tournaments. I only put 2 entries in the 888. Got one of them into the money. Didn't really have a sweat with it. Bales, did you get any sweats in the 888 or anything else in week 17?
Yeah, well, our cash lineup, I didn't play cash, rarely play cash, but I tweeted that out. I thought that was pretty hard to do. Like, I don't know how rare it actually is, but to have the same lineup on DK, even in cash, I thought was pretty ridiculous. But I had a couple sweats on FanDuel and on DK in week 17, and I did well overall. I was up basically the buy-in for the week, but like you, I thought that I could have at one point I had probably a lot more equity than I actually realized. So from that standpoint, it was a little bit disappointing, but still good week overall.
Peter, how'd you do in week 17? And also, as someone who plays all the short slates, I would think that this would be a huge week for you because a lot of people who don't normally play short slates are going to be playing short slates. And also, you can get a ton of action on short slates. We've talked about reasons why before on here. I think the biggest thing is people feel really comfortable on short slates, like they're not missing anything, whereas they get overwhelmed in bigger slates. And also because people want to watch these games, they're huge playoff games. They're all on TV. I think you'll get a ton of action on these short slates. So talk to the people a little bit about that.
Yeah, week 17 went well for me. Did pretty well overall. Did well on the short slates. Had one really good tournament team that got 7th in the 888. At one point in time, I thought I was really live to win. Sanu had a touchdown call that put me in position where I thought I would have been the favorite to win the 888 and even live in the Millionaire Maker. But from that point on, it got overturned, and Amari Cooper had a catch called back as well, who I had in the lineup with Phillip Rivers and Keenan Allen, and that game flow really got away from me where I had a big game stack. So, it was a good week overall. Did well in the short slates, had really good afternoon-only teams. Goodwin's concussion was a brutal hit, both for him and for the really big scores in the afternoon-only slates and the main slates over on FD, but pretty happy. Feel like I made one mistake, and that was the DK main slate where I was really struggling with quarterback. I went back and forth with Ryan, Stafford, and Brady. I didn't want to play Brady because of the cold weather. I got a little nervous about Stafford in the Lions situation, and I had Ryan in all my tournament teams, so I didn't want to be all in on Ryan. He had burned me a couple of times this year, so I went Brady, and I didn't love that. I was going to roll Gronk and Deion Lewis no matter what, so I went with the correlation and just trusting the team total. But that cold weather, how inept the Jets were, I feel like that was a mistake. But overall, felt really good about the situation. Amari Cooper. I almost got back to even with him this year. If I would have gotten a couple breaks and gotten first place in the 888 and won the million, maybe I would have been even on Amari Cooper for the year. So at least had a sweat of that. And ready for 2018. Definitely over the 2017 NFL season.
Yeah, Mark Cooper was like less than 1% owned. Questions about his ankle and expected to be shadowed by Casey Hayward. And Amari Cooper.
I had one lineup with him.
Yeah. No, I mean, with Rivers and Keenan, it certainly
I went
made
Rivers,
sense.
Keenan, and Gates, and I had to run it back with one person. So I ran 3 Rivers teams. The other 2 teams I had Jared Cook, who I thought had higher equity, but I went with the contrarian team. And Sanu's touchdown call back, and then I had Frank Gore in that lineup, and Frank Gore is my most leveraged player. And I saw Jim Irsay tweet about him, and I really thought the narrative for him was strong, because if he got to 90-some yards, he went over 14,000 for his career, and the owner talked about how he wanted to get him 1,000. And he got injured right before they scored a touchdown. He kind of got them all the way there, and he still got a nice game, 17 DK points or 18 DK points. The price tag really cheap, but needed a touchdown to really get over the top there.
I believe the owner is like a drug addict psychopath. Am I wrong?
No, that's correct, but that's even better. I mean, psychopath that tells the coach who knows he's out the door, like, hey, you get this guy. I don't know what the influence would be there, but he is a psychopath. There's no denying that.
Yeah. Want to talk about Super Bowl futures a little bit. I think the futures market in sports betting is really tough. It's juiced so hard. Like, you can't even really see it unless you go through and do all the math. But it's really hard to beat the futures markets. Do you guys like anything odds to win the Super Bowl? One thing that I saw in the NFC, like the Eagles, and rightfully so, are like the second biggest underdog, obviously, even though they're the number 1 seed with a bye. They're like plus 500 or something, which isn't even that much. Like, they should be way more with the state of their team now. But I don't know, Bales, do you see anything and any general thoughts on betting futures in sports?
I believe the Eagles are plus 1,200 maybe. Last time I looked.
Maybe to win. Yeah, that might be to win the Super Bowl. I was talking about to win the NFC, but yeah.
Oh yeah. I think they're around there. The Vikings are like overwhelming favorites.
Yeah.
I'm bringing up right now. Yeah, the futures are, the big thing is, you can't see the juice. You would have to calculate everything. It's really difficult to actually do that.
Action Network should create a tool to see real juice on futures markets.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. I'm gonna write that down.
You should bring that to the regular employee meeting and just take credit for it yourself.
Yeah, I definitely.
Bales, you and I can collectively take credit for that.
I'm also writing a note for Brian to cut that out that you said that. The futures are difficult to tell the juice, and then it's also raked a lot. But when certain things happen that are really pivotal, they'll be like not that quick to update. It's still quick, but it's similar to props where you can find an edge just by like following news. Not as big of an edge, obviously, since props are player based, and most futures or the Super Bowl props obviously are not, but quarterback injury or some really big player, it does affect it. In terms of what I like, Eagles are 12-1, and they're 475 now to win the NFC. I would say the Jags at 22-1 to win the Super Bowl, and 800-1 or 8-1 plus 800 to win the AFC. I like the 22, I guess, more, but I think the Jags are interesting there. Obviously, you're almost always going to lose that, but the Jaguars' defense is so good, and I think that if it probably doesn't make sense with what you're paying, but shorting the Patriots, who are just overwhelming favorites, that I actually think that it's way too much, and they're not nearly as good as they have been in other years, I think is probably somewhat smart. And then, I think that I would just try to get away from the Patriots, who are plus 225 right now to win the Super Bowl, minus 140 to win the AFC.
Yeah, I was going to mention Jags as well. I'm seeing 10-1 some places in the AFC for the Jags too. In general, these are really, really, really bad investments, but they're fun sweats if you have a lot of conviction on a team. I definitely like the Jaguars the most. I think they can give the Patriots a ton of problems with their defense. And Bortles played well down the stretch. And if you can run the football effectively and play great defense, I mean, it's cliche, but that is an effective game plan for the playoffs.
Yeah, I think in general speaking, like futures are bad if you're trying to really grind because it ties up your money for a long time, number one. And number two, like it's raked so hard and they're really hard to beat. I think of it as like something for fun. So like before the season, I bet a bunch or somewhat on Penn State to win the college football national championship just because I went there and knew I was going to watch a lot of the games and I just wanted to sweat all year, and I actually thought they had a decent chance. I got 30-1. It was like an awesome sweat for a while. Like they legit looked like they were going to go to the playoff. It was so fun. I was like so happy about my ticket. Obviously, block punt in the Ohio State game, and then the loss the very next week to Michigan State kind of sealed the deal. But it was really fun for a while. So I think futures can be fun in that sense.
I don't want to throw someone under the – I'm going to throw someone under the bus, but I don't mean to because it's a sharp, smart guy. I believe Sawhill last year lost a futures ticket that he had on Clemson. So there's another thing, like losing the ticket, like for degenerates out there, like it's not 0% that you're going to lose the ticket. So you're paying the huge vig, you're tying up your money, and you could lose the ticket. And in the event that you do win, a lot of times people make these investments in Vegas itself. Then you have to go out to Vegas, which – I guess isn't a bad thing if you win. Obviously, that's a fun thing to celebrate, but there's a lot of costs.
Yeah. They'll mail it to you too if you want. If you can mail them the ticket and then get it verified. But yeah,
mailing the ticket, that seems another like small risk, right?
Yeah, first class, all that's all first class mail or whatever. But yeah, I did that one year with because like had no plans to go to Vegas. I just had like a over under win total, not for a lot of money, but I was like, whatever, I'll just mail it. But yeah, I don't know. One thing that I do think is worth grinding and worth talking about is props. I am like as neck deep as Bales is in the crypto trading game. I am neck deep in props right now in the NBA and somewhat in the NFL too. The prop market is so soft. And like when people start throwing props at me, like, oh, how could you not play this guy? His prop is XXX. I'm like, these props are so bad if you're using them for DFS. I think it's a stone disaster. I know Peter disagrees to some extent, but the props are so soft. It's crazy. Like these guys have no incentive. The people setting the lines have no incentive whatsoever to make good props because the limits are so relatively low. Like a lot of the limits on props are 500 and then they're taking 50K or something on a side of a game. Like they don't care. They don't move based on injuries hardly ever. In the NBA, they're putting up basically guys' season averages every night, not adjusting for pace, not adjusting for matchup, barely adjusting for injuries. We have launched the props dashboard on Fantasy Labs. I don't know how many people are using it, if they are at all. Bales, why don't you tell the people what the idea was about the props dashboard?
People are using it, and the idea was that basically we're doing all of the work to help people bet on props anyway. With the projections and really news and how fast we get to news, especially in NBA, NFL, it's just pivotal. And there'll be times when there's like minutes that go by where the prop is not updated, but we've updated news for a player or team that like dramatically affects the prop, especially in NBA where like a certain guy is not playing and it changes everyone's projections substantially. You can, because of those low limits, they are not as quick to update. And I think that is going to change in the future as more people bet on individuals in a variety of different ways. I think that's probably the future of betting being more player-based. But for the time being, there's a huge edge there in looking at those things. And so just wanted to show where the best bets are in terms of player props, show when a player has news that has affected his prop or his teammates' props, and where you can bet that in real time at a bunch of different books. So yeah, I like it quite a bit, and use it. And even if you don't like Labs projections, you do your own projections. It's still valuable to see where all of the different books have players in terms of props, and just seeing the differences in those props should show you that it's not completely efficient, because if it were, they like NFL totals or spreads that always converge, we'd see that with player props, and we don't.
Mute, love it, can.
Two other things that come to mind about props while Bale's talking there. First of all, I think NBA is way easier to beat on props than NFL, because like one NFL play obviously can change. Like if you have under somebody on like 30 yards and they get some fluke like 40-yard play, you could have made a good bet and you're dead. Whereas in the NBA, you can be so much more accurate in terms of your projection. And then also, like, there's like a common enemy when you're betting props. Like when you're playing DFS, it's like, well, I don't want to tell XYZ person, not me personally, but a lot of people are like, I don't want to tell XYZ person I like this guy because, we are competing for the same prize pool. Whereas everybody else, when you're betting props, it's like, fuck the bookies. You know what I mean? Let's just beat them. You know what I mean? And like everybody, we can all bet the same prop and root together. So I think that's kind of a cool aspect of that too. Anything on props, Peter?
Well, a friend of the podcast, Stephen Bass, would disagree with you on some of this stuff. He thinks NFL props, especially if you're taking the overs, are pretty tough to beat when there's wider spreads, especially on something like 5 dimes where you have 30-cent spreads. But yeah, he'd be interested in that, or at least hearing more about it. I think it's a market, especially in the NBA with the news. If you can hammer it, there's a ton of edge there. Pretty easy to get cut off on a site like Bovada, but if you have other options where you have a little more sustainability, I think it makes a lot of sense to fire them, especially in a sport like NBA, where you can react quickly on the news. We're going to get that fast, and obviously they have a lot going on. They're trying to adjust the lines. Player props generally move a lot slower than other things that bookies are putting out there, or that sports books are putting out there. So I think it's really cool to think about. I think the prop dashboard was a great tool that we added at Fantasy Labs. And, as we hopefully get some good news in the sports speculation markets in terms of legality, I'm hopeful that there'll be more and more opportunities and different ways you can speculate on individual players that I think people will really love. So hopefully we see more of those changes. And, maybe if you ever have some overs, especially for NFL, we can talk to Bass and see what he thinks about it.
Yeah, well, first of all, I would never lay minus 130 on like a standard thing. You know what I mean? People need to be more price sensitive than that. I think you should be willing to lay minus 115 on props because obviously minus 110 is standard for sides, but on props, I'm willing to take 115 because, books are going to the trouble of posting these things that they are obviously kind of weak on compared to us.
One other thing, too, just in general for NFL, like the majority of winning props from things that I've seen from sharp people are unders on NFL because they're taking the mean instead of the median. And a lot of these players will have their mean skewed by one really big game. Julio Jones, a Tyreek Hill, a lot of those players will have higher means than their medians.
All right, rake is not, you shouldn't just, there are times when you'll pay huge juice, and that's when you have information that they don't have, which is when news comes out. So it's not like, oh, it's minus 130, I can never do that, or there's never situations like that. It's always, is this player, are these good odds for this player to get to this number? And when it is, if in NBA, that a guy's out before the line moves.
Yeah, my point was when a book lists like a standard prop, just all their props are minus 130. I would try to avoid that. You know what I mean? Like all their props from the beginning. You can. I'm just saying you can find better than that. You can usually find minus 115. All right, let's move to crypto for this week. I really have no idea what's going on in crypto. I thought one thing that I did think that happened was like all these stiffs, and by stiffs I mean like Wall Street, like real, like people with like hedge funds and all these people, the only week they take off the whole year. Like my friend is in private equity. He works like 20 hours a day. He's so absurd, but he takes the entire week between Christmas and New Year's off every year. And a lot of guys do that. And then during that time, Bitcoin was down. I saw it got down as low as like 12.7. These guys get back to work. I'm not surprised that Bitcoin has shot up a bit as soon as these guys get back to work. Peter, do you think that had anything to do with kind of the latest bump for crypto and anything else that's going on?
Yeah, Peter Thiel, it came out that he had a big position in his fund in Bitcoin. So I think that pumped the markets a little bit. I was a little nervous. One thing I was paying attention to was if, we saw people take profits immediately on January 1st for tax reasons. Some people were a little concerned about that with the stock market as well, even though there's a lot of historical data to suggest that might not happen. So I was curious to kind of see what would happen at the beginning of the year, and it's obviously a pretty nice start. Saw a nice BTC rally today. Ethereum has been doing relatively well, so excited to see kind of the main stuff do well. And then there's the crazy game of all the alts, which we can toss to our resident expert, Bales.
Yeah, I'm the expert here. That's sad. Yeah, the thing with the new year and the profit taking after the first, I did a lot of research on that. I was thinking of doing the same thing, and then ultimately did not take money out because I didn't think that it was necessarily going to drop after looking into the tax consequences and a variety of reasons. So I'm glad that I didn't do that. As far as alts, yeah, it's been good overall. Obviously, a lot of altcoins are very volatile, and Bitcoin is volatile relative to some other assets. But in terms of crypto, it's by far the least volatile. And seeing a 2x gain on Bitcoin would be pretty crazy. Whereas seeing that on some other coins, it might only take like 18 hours or so. Who knows? So, that's I've just been spending a lot of time on that, and obviously, super bullish on the alts right now.
There's a lot of exchanges out there. There's a lot of exchanges popping up all the time. How do we know which exchanges to trust? I mean, there's so many. It's not a surprise to me that there's exchanges popping up. There's a ton of money to be made. How do we know which exchanges out there to trust, Bales?
There's really only one true exchange, and that's KuCoin. KuCoin.com. Use my link to sign up. No, it's you have to use your own judgment. KuCoin is a new exchange that I like that is in Hong Kong, and they have no limits and very lax verification. Some unique coins that you can trade, and their own coin, KuCoin shares, which I like quite a bit. So KuCoin, and then they also. I don't know what's so funny.
Oh, this is just pure gold over here.
Anyway, all I'm saying is get your entire net worth onto KuCoin. Buy KuCoin shares. Do it now. Use my link. No, I don't know. What do I know? But KuCoin, it is a really good exchange in terms of like the interface and everything that they're doing marketing wise. The team, I actually do really like KuCoin. So I'm pretty heavily invested in KuCoin. You're right. It is down, Peter.
So beforehand, we were talking a decent bit about KuCoin. One thing we definitely want to avoid on this podcast is just like touting specific things to buy. There's definitely a lot of risk in the crypto space just in general with any of things. But I think this is probably my favorite story so far that could end really badly or really well. Told Bales about KuCoin maybe 24 hours ago, Bales?
It was about 30 hours ago.
30 hours ago. And now Bales' biggest position is in KuCoin.
by far.
Not BTC, not Ethereum.
Part of that is also because it just went up 100% in 24 hours after I bought it. But
yeah.
We came in saying we weren't going to talk too much about KuCoin on this podcast, and we went for it, right, Bills?
How can you not? I'm so excited. I couldn't even sleep last night. I was so excited about this exchange.
You want to hear something absolutely hilarious that we didn't talk about? Last night, I woke up at 3 a.m. actually dreaming about KuCoin and bought more KuCoin.
I did not know that.
Oh, yeah.
Bales, why don't you tell the story about Jess?
Oh, yeah. My girlfriend yesterday said to me, I've known about KuCoin for a little while, but I've been invested for 30 hours or so. And Jess, we were just talking, and she just said, "Could you stop turning everything that I say into something about KuCoin?"
I've only refreshed KuCoin about 100
Like, what do you want for dinner? I'm just like, I don't know. I can't stop thinking about fucking KuCoin.
All right, just to save us, we're not financial advisors. We're not recommending to buy any of this stuff.
Yeah, really. I'm not like vouching for the site. It's just something that we've done.
Yeah. To me, at least, I haven't looked into this at all. I just found out about it more recently than 30 hours ago. And these small...
You're going to sign up through my link, though, right, Levitan?
Small... Peter's neck deep in the affiliate game.
If you don't buy any KuCoin, Levitan, by the end of this podcast, I'm going to be...
Yeah, you have to have KuCoin.
Especially after this Three Donkeys podcast comes out, I mean.
Yeah.
Right. These exchanges that are in Hong Kong, which I believe some of these countries have already outlawed exchanges to some degree, or not exchanges as much as they've outlawed ICOs, right? That would concern me. If you woke up tomorrow and you couldn't get on KuCoin.com, you would have no recourse whatsoever. That would concern me. Bales, does any of this concern you?
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning. Yeah, China, I believe, banned ICOs. Hong Kong, I think, is generally favorable. They do. I think that they have sort of different. Might be like how Puerto Rico is to the United States type of thing, where they have different laws, and I think generally more favorable financially. But yeah, the biggest risks would be government, especially given some of the protocol at KuCoin. And then I think the biggest one would just be that it gets hacked. So that would be, it's a new exchange, and I think that it's well run. I really do, but it's always a pretty big risk that it gets hacked, and then that would be the disaster scenario where you actually do go to zero. A lot of the downside of say Bitcoin or something, people think that it just has like a ridiculous black swan scenario, which it kind of does in a way, but Bitcoin is just not going to go to zero because it can't be hacked. Like it's very unlikely that it goes down, even to 50% of where it is. But something like KuCoin shares, given that it's mostly on one exchange, and if that gets hacked, that could actually go to zero. So those would be the big risks to me.
And also, you can't put KuCoin on a Trezor, correct? Like, isn't the whole idea of crypto to be not centralized on an exchange, not centralized through one company, so you have all your eggs. Like, the whole appeal of Bitcoin is you have complete control over it. You are your own bank. If you own KuCoin, it's not your own bank, right? You have it on their site.
That's right. You're more or less just investing in the genius development.
All right. That's enough on KuCoin. Let's get to what this podcast has become famous for. Everybody likes talking about masturbation and the 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge. we should really, if we want to get the most downloads, I swear we should just do a total masturbation pod. I mean, people just eat this up. They can't get enough of it. I get tweets all week about the 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge. I think at this point, Bales has to do it. If not for money, just for fun. Like, because it's like a funny bit, and this could really put Action Network on the map. This could be like, this is the moment that makes it for Action Network. And as a regular employee, that's really part of your job. So, Bales, do you want to do this for no money?
No, not no money. I would like some money. Some money.
Give him enough KuCoin as an incentive.
Yeah. I accept KuCoin. I accept it at a discount. Yeah, when I was in Miami, someone, I don't even know who it was, just some DFS player who I didn't know walked by and was like, 13 times in one day. I swear to God, and then kept walking, and I was just like, what?
We did get a message from somebody. I believe it was the original person who sent us the idea that, and I kind of agree with this. This makes way more sense. The running portion, obviously, we're talking about running, donuts, beer, and jerking off. You pick what you want to do at 6, 12, 18, 24 times for each. The running portion, according to this guy, you actually have to run. You actually have to do it in 10-minute miles or less. That is a huge stipulation, I think, that would change a ton. I mean, it's not that easy even to do 6 miles in an hour, I don't think, especially if you're not in any kind of shape. So, Bales, would that change your strategy at all?
Yeah, it'll change my strategy. It'll also change the odds. I mean, I know we agreed on 20 to 1. I think I would probably need 50. No, really, I don't think I can do it with that. That's really tough to run 12 miles, I guess, under 10 minutes, because I don't think I can jack off 12 times.
Right.
These days.
Yeah. You would have to, I think, wake up and kind of just gut out 12 miles. I mean, 12 miles. You can walk for some of it, I think, and still make it in 10 minutes, but you'd have to be running for a pretty good portion of it. Peter, what odds do you want to give him? 3 to 1?
3 to 1. 3 to 1.
Funny, I just got a text from potentially, from someone who could be associated with the Action Network, sending some notes about CryptoKitties, and he's interested in KuCoin. So that's some good news. Yeah, in terms of the odds that I'd give Bales, I mean, I think Bales is a pretty big favorite. The running aspect certainly is a challenge, but I mean, look at him. He's the Hulk. I mean, I saw him do 30 pull-ups, bench press 1 million pounds. Bales has sent me some shirtless photos of himself back in the day. I mean, he gets in shape. I mean, it's all over. He's a freak. He's a physical specimen, you know?
So
I sent you shirtless photos, and then last week everyone's bitching that that Levitan taught me about dry coming in Miami. I don't know where this podcast is going, guys.
Built into my 3 to 1 offer is that you're doing this for the team. You're doing this for the Action Network, for the hashtag likes, for the hashtag favorites, for the hashtag retweets.
I don't need to succeed for the content, though. That is irrelevant to if I finish or not.
But you would have to give your best effort. I mean, if you don't give your best effort, then if you quit halfway through, like the mile, it's not good content either.
Why would I be more incentivized to do something for free than I was for money?
Right. That's why I'm willing to give you 3 to 1.
We all know Bales will accept it if you make one stipulation with the offer there, Levitan. we all know it. We all know the carrot that you need to dangle here.
In the event that
related.
In the event that I lose, I'll actually sign up for a stupid fucking KuCoin account.
Dude, we know you're gonna have KuCoin shares by the end of the night. If you don't, that's just so dumb.
All right, this podcast is officially how we're not going to be regular employees any longer. This is how we're in big trouble.
Bales, when do you want to do this? Because I'm having a kid here in 3 weeks, but I'm going to need some time off. But I need to witness this live outside of the masturbation part. Obviously, I need to witness this live. And we got to get out of this weather too. So we should form some date. Do you want to do this around the Gambling Olympics idea too, or is this a separate?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I was gonna say. When do we want to do the Gambling Olympics, and where should we do it? I was thinking Vegas before the Combine, but we can't play DFS there, so that's.
I was thinking more like, well, it's not good for DFS, but I was thinking more like after NBA season.
So this summer?
Yeah, we need some racquetball. We need some weightlifting props. We need a whole bunch of stuff for the Gambling Olympics and the 6, 12, 18, 24. I mean, that is definitely going to be the pinnacle of the Gambling Olympics, right?
That's the main event.
That's the main event.
Yeah, I guess it could be part of it. I don't know.
We got some great material for our new bosses, the Chernin Group guys, counting crypto exchanges. We are doing the Gambling Olympics, and the main event is a 6, 12, 18, 24 challenge. Bills, you can explain that to them, what that exactly entails and why it's great.
Yeah. Well, with the Gambling Olympics, one thing we want to do is we want to have DFS players, poker players, other gamblers, maybe some athletes or a celebrity or two, but then also like some listeners, 1 or 2. So if anyone has ideas of like contests we could run or different ways that we could figure that out, someone could come out and compete in the Gambling Olympics, which will be like a variety of just crazy bets that we do, centered around betting, DFS, poker, maybe some fitness props, whatever, then you can send those to Scott at
Scott, we got to get Scott to participate in some of these events.
Scott's coming out.
He's coming out for sure.
Yeah, I think it's the 3donkeys pod at Gmail.
All right. Week, not a good masturbation segment this week, but I think our views are going to be down. Our clicks are going to be down because of that, but we still have to move on. Last week, in terms of the picks, I did poorly. Peter and Bales chopped it up for the season. Bales went absolutely ham. Bales, what'd you hit, like 60% or something crazy like that for the season?
Higher than that. Don't count him short.
I don't know exactly what it was, but just got lucky. I just picked the Saints under every week, pretty much.
All right. Well, the Saints under is certainly in play this week. Peter is going to get to go first here since he's buried in the props.
Yep.
I think we have an idea what he's going to take.
Of course, I'm taking the Saints under.
All right. We're just going to do one game each this week because there's only 4 games on the slate. We'll do one game each. Peter can go, then I'll go, then Bale's big winner will go last.
Yeah,
Peter,
I'm still a Bale's Thunder. He's a genius. I'm going to take the under on this game. 48 currently. Yeah, just hoping for that to come to fruition. Probably won't. Probably will be a massive shootout, so maybe I'll hedge with a game stack there. Cam Newton has played well historically in New Orleans. Obviously, it's a lot different defense this year, but I'll still take the under and take it away from Bales.
Yeah, I think it's 48.5 right now for Scott the intern who is recording this. God, I have a couple of the things that I like. I got to pick one here. I guess the one I like most outside of that Saints under is the under in the Kansas City game. Kansas City's defense has struggled this year, and I think that's why the total is up a bit at 44.5. But at home, they're still a really dominant defense. Haven't given up more than 21 points in a game at Arrowhead since week 1 of 2016. And this Titans offense plays so slow and is so conservative. It's like painful to watch. So expecting a lot of runs and boring play from Tennessee and good defense from Kansas City. So I'll go ahead and take the under 44.5 in that Kansas City Titans game.
You're going to be tilted when Ty Freak scores a 90-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good for the under.
2 bets I like in the Jags are Jags minus 8.5 and also the game under 39.5. I think that low line is somewhat of a trap. I don't know how the Bills score there, but just to bet against what I've done this year and to bet against Peter if he wants the prop, I'm actually going to go over in the Saints.
Wow.
Game.
Oh, no.
To the line.
Damn it.
I think that they open it up.
Oh, they have to throw this game because they can't run. Is that why? Michael Thomas, Kamara in the passing game?
There's a Yeah, I think that they just open up the offense more. They're playing at home. The line has moved down from where it opened. Normally, this opens at like 53 or something. I just think that the line is sort of caught up. And
Third game in the division doesn't scare you at all, Bales? This is just devastating. I mean, here I go, getting the first pick after losing all my money to these guys.
Well, I actually my favorite bet is actually the Jags -8.5. But the line I see, you said 48.5. I think it's at 48 now. Let me know if that's wrong.
Okay.
So Peter would have to have. I mean, that's not a huge difference, maybe, but.
I mean, Peter didn't even give a line. He just went on his rant and just said under. We could have told him it was 46. He doesn't know.
I know. I saw it was 48. That's 48, and then you corrected it to 48.5. I'm not going to speak up and give me an extra half point.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't hear
27
that.
to 21. I take that as a win, and now all of a sudden it's a push. So.
Okay. All right. So, Bales, what's your official pick? You said like 3 things there. What's your official pick?
I'm gonna go with. Do you want the prop on the total?
You guys can side bet the total.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Definitely not. You think I'm going to go against the Saints Whisperer? Are you kidding me? I'm not stupid.
Okay. Then what's your
It's over just to win the thing.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. That is gonna do it. Go ahead, Bales.
Oh, I didn't have anything.
Okay. That is going to do it for the first episode of 2018. Another riveting episode. We hit masturbation. We hit shady crypto exchanges in Hong Kong. We hit the 6/12/18/24 as usual. We will be back next week after the hashtag regular employees get back from San Francisco. For Bales, for Peter, for Jerry, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.